Late night baseball here on Chatterbox. Reds on the East Coast, and currently on the West Coast, the Reds hold a 4-1 lead. That makes doing these shows late at night a little more tolerable. I know this is right up your alley. I can't say it's right up mine, but I do like the idea of watching the game in complete peace.
It's beautiful. Spectacular, some might say.
I'm currently watching it on game day, and some would say an outlet
Strikeout.
that's probably not maybe legal, if I could say such a thing.
How dare you?
But I'm too lazy to log into all of my credentials and have to go through the nuts and bolts of trying to get myself actually logged into the professional stream. So
Did you
go ahead?
Did you know that you can on not going to say it because I don't want to wake it up on ALEXA if you have one of the like the show ones, you can actually log into MLB TV on that.
Oh, really?
They don't have the app, but you have to like whatever their browser is called. You ask it to open that, and then you have to type it in. You can't say it because it won't recognize it. You type it in, you can put in your credentials, and you can watch it right there.
Wow. Okay. I watched the game on FS1 tonight.
Okay.
Didn't know that was even possible. Just somehow like I accidentally stumbled into it. And I don't even know who the play-by-play and the color guy was, but it was like awesome to listen to a game that was just like seemed impartial. Certainly didn't have an agenda. It felt like it was just interesting to see the perspective they had on some of our players.
I think they play. Reds are on FS1 probably once every 3 weeks or so. They've been on a few times. Doesn't really get advertised, kind of like it, maybe used to 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it seems odd that the Angels have a broadcast, the Reds have a broadcast, and then FS1 has a broadcast as well.
Well, I think when the regionals, they would like use they would like use it together, but now they're not Fox anymore, so they right. have to. But yeah, they have the FS1 has like the rights to do the games, but they don't have the exclusive rights. Like Apple TV paid for exclusive rights.
Yep.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball plays for exclusive rights. So that's why you have 3 different broadcasts. I'm actually listening to the Angels broadcast right now. The Reds radio got all messed up. It was like behind, and so yeah, and I'll turn on Matt Vasgersian.
Yeah, I wasn't listening to Matt Vasgersian. I don't even know who I was listening to, but yeah, it was funny because they were talking about, man, they were very impressed with Luis May, and they even made the comment right before he walked the guy. They were like, he's actually putting the ball over the plate. He has pretty good command. And then boom, there you go, a walk. So you can clearly tell that they are not snake bitten by perhaps what we ultimately do know of Luis May, because he does have a live arm. Can't say he doesn't have a live arm. Can't say that it doesn't look like it can play, because all of that definitely checks out.
I doubt those broadcasters are there. I don't think those FS1
Probably,
guys.
Yeah.
I think they're doing it remotely.
Yeah, now that would make sense too. It would seem crazy.
Come on.
Let's not do this. Yeah. I mean, as soon as I said that Luis May walked somebody and Barlow decides he's going to walk somebody, but if this umpire, if he wants to continue to be, very, very generous, then we'll take it, Nick.
Yeah, the last thing I do is walk this team. The Angels do one thing good and one thing only, and that's hit home runs. They literally do nothing else good. They're a terrible batting average team. They're a terrible pitching team. They're a terrible defensive team. They're a terrible base running team. But these guys, they can hit homers.
Yeah, so what you're saying is you'd prefer not to walk 2 guys.
Yes, I prefer not to walk anyone.
That's easier said than done. Apparently.
You got another topic for tonight other than Hayes and Singer?
Luck?
Oh, yeah, I guess. Yeah, Luck's probably. Maybe we'll bump Singer to the back half. Sorry, Brady.
Put say Lux win
there. Win.
Let's do a show, baby. That's a big win. That's a big win. You gotta get off to a good start out there. That was a big win. It's late. I can't yell. We're gonna be very quiet on the show. Hopefully people understand. But that's a big baseball win, and we'll be right back to talk about it.
And a bench to bench. Change hit in the air to deep right field. That goes to Lindsay. And the save. He's done. Get out of here, baseball. It's gone. Oh, my God. Can you believe it? Johnny Bench has tied it up. The Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in 4 straight. It was a sweep. In the dirt. It's a wild pitch. Here comes Foster. The Reds win the pennant. Perkins won the game. That ball is fair. Cincinnati's ahead. 2 games to none. Welcome, Joe Adell to Cincinnati. Adam Dunn has done it again. Ben Singer backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
Marty, yes. This is Adam from Milwaukee. Hey, Adam, how you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good. Do you think Chatterbox is a good player?
Dunn up there with the bases loaded, the outfield deep and around toward right, and the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on, long drive, right field, and this one belongs to the Reds.
And a high drive, hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club. Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner. That ball had a family.
And De La Cruz is, oh my goodness, look at this kid run. My, oh my, that is a triple.
Matt McClain's first big league bomb. Spencer Steer's first big league hit is a home run to straightaway center field. Joey Votto's done it again. The pitch. Votto swings high in the air. Right field. Yes! He pointed to the dugout to say, I told you. That is Joey Votto's 315th career go-ahead ribby. Only Johnny Bench had more as a Red.
And I can't tell you how much it means to play in front of everyone here in Cincinnati as a Red. What a gift. What a tremendous gift. So thank you. Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
High drive, left center field, racing back to the Laurel Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did! He did! Reds win! Reds win! Line to right field. Genius, the first Red ever with 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right field line. Does it have a chance? The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter. Oh, gosh. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Holy Moses, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win it. What a dream beginning to the career of Jay Bruce.
All right, welcome into a lovely winning edition of Chatterbox Reds. It's a West Coast version. Nick, we are up late here on the East Coast, and for those that are listening in a podcast form, it's probably going to be just a short few hours between now, us talking live, to when they probably listen to this show, which is nice. Perhaps one of the nicest things about Chatterbox Reds is it's after every single game, even the ones that are super late. Nick, I know this is right up your alley. I was sitting here watching this game, and I gotta be honest. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I may have set an alarm. I was laying in bed. I was like, man, my eyes are getting heavy. This is getting tough. Put the alarm on there, but I fought through it. I largely fought through it, Nick, because this game had some moments in it that kind of made you sit up real quick and say, oh no. It started early, and we won't get into the box score. I won't get into the details of it too much because we still have the box score recap to get to, but some great things, some really good things that we got a chance to see. Still had some of those moments perhaps where you were a little kind of on the edge of your seat, maybe on the edge of your bed for those that were trying to stay up like myself. But a win's a win, Nick. 4-1, a big win, a win that kind of gets you feeling like you can believe again. And it's weird because the Brewers series felt so disgusting at one point that you were ready just to kick it all down. You're ready to be done. And then all of a sudden they survive on Sunday, right? And they win a game that they could have easily lost. And they turn around and they win tonight, and you find yourself back in the same spot you were probably a week ago, which is, you're not sure, but you know what? This team got some resiliency to them. That's one thing they do have, Nick.
Yeah, huge win. I mean, with the Mets being off today, I mean, it's a difference of being one back or two back with 30-something games to play. I mean, you just, it's a huge game. It's a huge difference. You're putting more pressure on the Mets, and I believe in the whole putting pressure on the Mets thing. Like that team, that city. Was just watching an interview with Clint Frazier, guy who came up with Cleveland, got traded to the Yankees, and talking about how they have to go through all this media training. It's a whole different animal. You put more pressure on them, it's magnified 100 more times than the Reds. So huge win. One of the most eventful 4-1 ball games. Yeah. Without really a lot of no lead changes or anything that you'll maybe ever see.
No, you're right. I mean, when you do the box score recap, if you don't emphasize certain things that happened during the course of the game, it would be ho-hum. No, it's a normal game. You win 4-1. But, boy, there were some moments where you just thought, oh, no. And then you thought, Brian Hayes is that guy. Sure. We'll talk about him in a bit, but that's more to come here on this show. Let's jump into it. Box score recap presented by yourself on a lovely winning edition of Chatterbox Reds. Nick, take it away.
All right, Reds taking on the Angels, game 1 of 3 at Angel Stadium in game 1 of 6 of a West Coast road trip. Brady Singer against Victor Medeiros, making his second career big league start. And the Reds jumped all over Medeiros early. TJ Friedel singled, and then Gavin Lux homered. And 5 pitches into the game, the Reds had a 2-0 lead. The Angels responded with a run off Singer in the bottom of the first, but Singer got a very fortunate double play to get out of the inning with the lead. Brian Hayes then made a pair of absolutely ridiculous plays in the second and third innings, and then the Reds picked up another run in the top of the fourth on an Elly De La Cruz triple and an Austin Hayes sac fly to make it 3-1. The Reds did have the bases loaded with just 1 out later in the inning, but were unable to add on. Brady Singer, who looked like he was on the ropes early, would end up getting through 6 innings with just that 1 run allowed. Singer's final line, 6 innings, 6 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Singer has now gone 6+ innings, allowing 1 run or less in 4 of his last 5 starts. Reds would pick up a big insurance run in the 8th thanks to a Brian Hayes triple that was certainly aided by a misplay in center field, and then a Matt McLain sac fly. Connor Phillips pitched around runners in the 7th, gave up a fly ball that was definitely scary, but was nothing less than an out. Luis May, he got a couple outs, left a couple runners on base. Scott Barlow came in, struck out Jo Adell to get out of the inning, and then Scott Barlow struck out 3 more batters in the 9th. 4 strikeouts for Barlow, an inning and a third save. Reds win. Second in a row, Reds improved to 66-60 on the season, and with the win, Reds now 1 game out of a playoff spot.
And the best part about it, we have a legit deep drive of the day. Shout out to Gavin Lux, Who needs Great American Ballpark when you can roll in just to Angel Stadium and wait for that 350? Think about that. 350 feet to right field, and he said, the hell with it. I'm going to hit one 387 feet, 99 miles an hour off the bat, 30-degree launch angle. That would give the Reds a 2-0 lead at the beginning of the game in the top of the first. Win probability would jump up 15%, giving them a 0.4% chance of winning the game is all we know. It would be 100% by the time it was over. DSC, they are a leader in renewable commodities for biofuel production, specializing in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. I know we can go maybe a plethora of ways here really quickly. You kind of have on the rundown Ke'Bryan Hayes and Gavin Lux. Not to make this all confusing for the audience here, just for the fact that DSC was the Gavin Lux deep drive of the day to make it a smooth transition into him. It was nice. It was nice to see the Reds kind of put their foot down early and get off to a good start, because far too often I think that psychologically it means a lot to be able to jump out ahead. Personally, I think in a baseball game, you get a big swing from Gavin. He puts you up 2-0, kind of settles the nerves if there are any, by the whole kind of flying all the way out to the West Coast situation. You don't really have a turnaround, Nick. That's the other thing. It's not like they had an off day to get out there. They get out there. They got to play the following night, and that's a big swing from Gavin Lux. It really is. And for a guy that doesn't have a position, Nick, this month he has made himself have to be in the lineup more times than not because of just how well he swung the bat, and that's a big swing. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah, he's hit incredible in the month of August, but came in with just 2 extra base hits. So that was great to see him hit a home run. He hadn't hit a home run since June. So yeah, I mean, that's a big deal. That's the challenge with Lux. Lux has never been bad this year, but the problem is like his ceiling just hasn't been high enough at times, and he's just kind of been one of these guys. So I don't know. He did have some good power the second half of last year. You thought maybe in June when he hit like 3 home runs in that month, like, okay, maybe he's going to be able to, just sneak out 10, 12, 15 home runs. But there hasn't been anything there. There hasn't even really been since June, he has 6 doubles. That's it. It hasn't even had extra base power. So again, if you can just get a little bit of power out of him, it would really go a long way. And, the Reds home run ball, it just completely changes the whole complexion of a baseball game.
100%. And I think that the other complexion of this whole thing was really the defense. And if you want to really specifically talk about one guy that has made an enormous impact since he's gotten here, it's Ke'Bryan Hayes. I don't even think it's remotely close about how valuable his defense has been. It's really one of those things where when you put it on paper, someone's going to tell you, this guy's got this amount of defensive run saves, and here's his outs above average, and look how much better he is than the rest of the league. Nick, we put those out in podcast form. We let everybody know about how good he was. The truth of the matter is that I don't think that many people even understood that this is the level of play that he provided. Now, to be fair, I did not watch him in Pittsburgh, extensively. I don't know if he was this good all along. I don't know if this is par for the course. But I'll tell you right now, if you even get remotely this much value add of a defensive player, he just has to be somewhat serviceable. Just be somewhat serviceable at the plate, and I'll live and die by it. And it's funny enough because I'm not going to jump from one subject to the next. We'll get to the back half in the back half. But it's funny enough that kind of, he's almost ruined it for Matt McClain a little bit, Nick. Like, I hate to say that, but he kind of has, because it's like you kind of look at him and you're like, well, damn. If we're going to get this good a defense out of somebody they can't hit, that's the kind of defense we need. Then you look at the other side of the diamond and you're like, well, he's not that good. We need to find somebody else that can hit. Then you jump back into the Gavin Lux talk. Like we could sit here and talk circles around this whole entire show about how one guy leads and the next guy leads. Ke'Bryan Hayes, man, if you were waking up this morning and you didn't watch this game, which I understand, it was late, do yourself a favor and go back and find the MLB.com, whether you want to go to the film room or whether you want to go to the condensed game. I'm not sure which one has the most plays. This guy made every single play that you could possibly imagine. And the one play that bounced off of Singer's foot, Nick, I mean, that's just anticipation. That's just wanting the baseball. And I can't tell you, I am insanely impressed with him. I made the joke earlier that I would obviously have gotten his jersey probably a couple weeks ago if he didn't have Jeimer Candelario's number. He has shaken even that off. I mean, this guy has been incredibly impressive, and he came up short at the plate. The one time we might have he had an opportunity to get a guy in from third base, but wasn't capable of doing it. But stepped up later in the game and did so. So regardless, I don't know how much more there is to say about it, but Ke'Bryan Hayes has been as advertised at third base.
The triple that was misplayed by the center fielder was hit 103.5 off the bat.
That was a great swing.
Put a great swing on that. So again, not been great, but he hasn't been as big of a liability. At least he's felt like, and at least you've seen some upside with him swinging. But yeah, he just changes the game defensively. And this Angels team came in third in Major League Baseball in home runs. I said it during the ninth inning. I mean, that's literally the only thing this team does well. They don't pitch well. They don't play good defense. They don't hit for average. They don't run the bases. They hit a lot of home runs. And just erasing runners off the bases against a team like the Angels is huge. And you just never know how this game goes if the Reds had, and I'm not even saying like Jeimer Candelario at third base. If the Reds had Santiago Espinal at third base, it's not meant to be disrespectful to Santiago Espinal, so don't take it that way. But if they had him at third base, who knows how this game goes tonight?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, listen, I'd also say I know we have luck on the back half. I don't want to jump around too much here. I'm trying to stay the course, trying to stay in my window. But the Reds were fortunate in this game. We'll get to it here in a little bit, but they were fortunate. And sometimes you need that. You need to catch a break. And they caught some breaks tonight. And thankfully, you know what I was going to say on the show, Nick? Like we always talk about when we never really steal that many games. You know, tonight, I again, we find ourselves in a spot where it's really hard for me to say we stole this game. But let's face it. I mean, we hit one ball over the fence, and the Angels hit 1,000 balls incredibly hard right at our guys in some very big spots, mind you. That play that Spencer Steer made, that again, to go back on the defensive side here, that's a bullet right at him, and he did a very good job of making the play and having the wherewithal to know that there's probably going to be a double-up opportunity at second base. Elly De La Cruz did a good job of making sure that he was there on time. That was a massive moment in the game, right? For those that didn't watch, essentially, you got first and second base right after you scored two. Angels have an opportunity to kind of get it right back, and you feel like you lose the momentum. And as soon as you think you lost the momentum on the ball that was laced towards first base, you get it all right back because you get a double play out of it and you get out of the inning. So, I tell you, it just felt like fortune was on our side, and the umpire helped a few times as well. I must admit, we got some fortuitous calls from a strike and ball perspective tonight. So, it is what it is. But Ke'Bryan Hayes has certainly at the plate done more than enough to justify wanting him to be out there because of what he's done at third base defensively. And I wasn't even mentioning, Nick, the ball that he hit. The ball that he hit over the center fielder's head was hit very, very well. In fact, it was hit so well that I think it fooled the guy. He came in two steps thinking he was going to be able to make a play on it, and it lost him. Now, I also did find it funny. I don't know the dude's name from the Angels, but I also thought it was funny that he just turned around and jogged after the ball too. That was peak bad baseball, which I'm all about when we're playing it. I love watching bad baseball when it's the opposite side of the field that the Reds are on. But Ke'Bryan came up. I guess my point is he's come up a couple times and with a guy on third base with less than 2 outs in some big moments. One against the Brewers just the other night, and then again tonight. Wasn't able to get the guy in, but he has had some good swings this year. So with the Reds, to be clear, So I don't want to make it sound like he's been horrific at the plate. It's just one of those things where you got to live and die by the fact that he's probably not going to ever truly get you too excited as an offensive player. And if he does, then watch out. I mean, he's basically what he's a. I know it's going to sound funny to say, Nick, but it's like if he was a 120 WRC plus guy, dude's like a Hall of Fame player if he can play for like 12 years.
He's an MVP candidate.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's how good
he's like
is.
that. He's like that. Maybe like Carlos Gomez kind of comes to mind. I think he was like really elite defensively in center field for a while, and like his like wins above replacement was really high, but it didn't have like these gaudy offensive numbers. That's kind of I think what Cabrines would be if he got to that level. But yeah, it's not like the Reds had some massive successful run at third base offensively all year either.
Right.
So, I mean, he's providing far more value than at any point at third base, offensively, defensively, the whole package this year. Like what he's done since he's been here has been the best 3 weeks of third baseman play from the Cincinnati Reds as an all-around package all year long. Correct. And I don't even think it's close.
I agree. He's been a good player. We'll leave it at that. Just take away what you think about him offensively, take away what you think about him defensively. You combine the two, like you just said, and he's been a very good player for this baseball team. All right, folks. As always, a quick reminder, you can text and or call 988. It's an anonymous hotline. You can visit mantherapy.org as well to get help. It's okay to not be okay. Also, as a reminder, Idlewood. Idlewood is not Idlewood. It's Idlewild, okay? I found that out yesterday. Idlewild. I sat up all night last night trying to say it in the mirror 5 times over and over and over again to make sure I didn't mess this up today. So here we go. The Disc Golf Pro Tour LWS Open at Idlewild. Idlewild. Burlington, Kentucky, August 22nd through the 24th. Features 150 of the top disc golfers in the world. Food trucks, Rheingeist beer, and other vendors will be there. You can get tickets at lwsopen.com or dgpt.com. That's dgpt.com. All right, the back half. Brady Singer went out, and to be honest, I wouldn't call it a great start by him in the sense that he was on top of his game. I do think that he ran into some fortune, and he took advantage of that fortune. I don't want anyone to think that I'm saying that he got completely lucky and he threw the ball horrible. What I am saying is that he ran into some situations that, to be frank, 9 times out of 10, he's probably going to give up 3, 4, 5 runs in this baseball game if it just wasn't for the fact that balls were hit right at guys. But you know what? It doesn't really matter, does it? And that's how I feel about it at the end of the day. He threw the ball relatively over the plate. And on top of that, you know what? His stuff was good enough to keep the ball in the ballpark. All those, hit hard, Nick. Doesn't matter when the field's this big. And I started thinking to myself again, what is it about this baseball team, man? When they go out and they play at these massive ballparks, it's almost like they can't lose. Now, I say that knocking on wood, everybody, okay? I'm not trying to jinx this thing. But when they got these humongous outfields, it just feels like it bodes well for this Reds baseball team. TJ Friedl made some good plays in center field as well. Marte made some look a little iffy at times, but he still caught the ball, so you got to give him credit where credit is due. There was a couple times where I must say it was a little questionable. But the defense held up tonight, Nick. The defense held up tonight, and Brady Singer was a big part of that by just giving him a chance.
Yeah, first couple batters of the game, I was like, oh, man. I was just hoping Singer could get you through 4 innings was kind of what I was feeling because this bullpen desperately needed it. I mean, Connor Phillips and Luis May pitched in this game with the lead. I mean, that's where the Reds bullpen was at. And so the biggest thing was just that he got through 6 innings. I mean, that was kind of incredible with how hairy it was earlier. He only walked 1 guy. And yeah, it felt like he gave up a ton of hard contact. He gave up 7 hard hit balls in 6 innings. That's not atrocious. In fact, the Angels starter and then the reliever, and their 6 innings gave up exactly 7 hard hit balls too. So it was pretty even both ways. So yeah, he doesn't hurt himself, and certainly was not his best start, but it was another start that you needed from Brady Singer, and he's been pitching very, very well of late. He's had a couple ugly starts, but man, you feel like almost every time he takes the ball, he's going to give you a real chance to win. And I'm interested to see kind of how he looks down the stretch, because it feels like he's pitching his best baseball of the season. I don't want to go too far, but it does feel like he's pitching his best baseball right now.
Singer's also kind of another prisoner of what's around him, right? I feel like that's the vast majority of what we feel like most of our players are. We'll get into that in a minute, what I mean. And just you compare, I guess, what guys are capable of doing for you based off of what other guys are doing for you, and you're hoping that you can get more. Brady Singer, if he's a 5th starter, Nick, you are thrilled to death. This guy's a great 5th starter. But he's starting to slide down the total, he's starting to slide down the pull here, where he's getting closer and closer to that 2 or 3 role because of just injuries and guys not being available. And you find yourself then maybe some fans being like, well, he's not this, he's not that. I don't think he was ever really truly meant to be kind of one of your top guys in the first place, but he's an innings eater. And you know what? He has done that. He has been durable. He's been as advertised when it comes to that side of it. And you know what? This late in the season, when you get into the thick of what is going to be probably a 30-day race here soon, that's a massive deal. And you've mentioned it. We'll jump into the bullpen now. They are struggling, man. They are joy with because of the walks and the opportunity to let a team right back in it. And thankfully, Luis May only had 1 walk. But I don't think that that's what this front office and or Tito would like to rely on when you have a 4-1 lead in the bullpen. And then you turn to Connor Phillips as well, who almost gives up a massive home run, but the ball stayed in the park, so we're all happy, right? I mean, it's just funny how it all depends on maybe like a small glimpse of, if that ball's a half a millimeter lower on the bat, it's a home run, you lose the lead, and we're all pissed off that we have a terrible bullpen. But tonight, we don't have a bad bullpen, do we, Nick?
No. I guess that the biggest positive is just, May and Phillips clearly have a lot of talent. So it was nice to see them get through an inning, because hopefully, I feel like both of those guys, especially Phillips, it's confidence as much as anything. So you hope that can just be a confidence booster for them, because the Reds desperately need any of these guys that are in their spot to take advantage and run with it and maybe be that 5th option. Like, the Reds desperately need a 5th option behind Pagan, Santillan, Ashcraft, and Barlow. And to be completely honest, they may need that 5th option to get bumped up to the 3rd option, because some of those guys are nothing against them. They're gassed. So yeah, that was great to see. Scott Barlow, I mean, that guy didn't love the walk in the 9th, but he struck out 4 batters. I mean, he's just had an unbelievable season. And it was a big day off. You gave Pagan, Santillan, and Ashcraft a day off. Now you only have 2 games to get through before an off day. So that's huge. You love, man, a couple of these games. I'd love to get greedy and blow a couple of these games open. Teams that are below 500, blow a couple of these games open and maybe kind of have a really easy week for Pagan and Santillan, because feels like they desperately need it. And it almost feels like at this point, with what we've seen, Tito's rode them just because it felt like you had to. But at this point, I don't think you can push them. I think you're better off riding with some of these lesser guys, because I don't feel like it's that big of an advantage right now with them being gassed, and it's going to help you later, if you're able to stay in this race to the end.
Yeah, listen, the comments made by Tito, what was yesterday, I think it was yesterday, maybe it was even earlier today, or hell, yesterday or 2 days ago, depending on when you're listening to this at this point. I'm losing track of days on the West Coast. But Tito basically mentioned that he took the blame for what he thought was Pagan struggling. I also think that is maybe what the best asset of Tito Francona is. I think that he's smart. He understands the psychological part of this baseball game. He realizes that his guy's struggling, and he knows that really it's probably in his best interest to go out there and take the blame for it, even if it's probably not his fault, and that's what he did. But there could be some truth into that too, is Nick. Like, I'm not saying that Tito's just providing lip service. Maybe he is tired. And listen, there's no doubt that Emilio Pagan has showed that he's willing to take the ball no matter what. I don't think Emilio Pagan's ever walking into the clubhouse and telling Tito Francona that he's incapable of taking the ball that day. I just think that there's this kind of this whether you want to call it ego or whether you want to call it pride, Pagan is not going to do that. So Tito's maybe taking upon himself now to say that that's his fault, and he's asked way too much of Pagan, and now you're starting to see some of the ramifications for that. And to your point, Nick, maybe you just move on and you say, you know what, we're going to give these guys a break, and we're going to have to live and die by some of these guys that we might not feel like we can trust as much, but we can't really trust the guys we have anyways because they're too tired to go out and perform the way that they have all year. So you're not winning anything by running guys out there that you trust more when they don't have their best stuff. So speaking of bullpen, I love the idea that we got to the Angels bullpen in a pretty timely manner. I thought that the Reds did an excellent job of when they didn't score tonight, Nick. I thought they did an excellent job of having some good at-bats with 2 outs. They made some rallies with 2 outs. They kind of extended the inning. I think there was 2 times where what was the kid's name? I think it was Medeiros. Medeiros got maybe like 2 outs on 5 or 6 or 7 pitches. And then all of a sudden you look up and he's got the bases loaded with 2 outs and he's thrown 22, 23, 24, 25 pitches in that inning. Not to just give all the glory to one guy because I think it was a collective effort, but the at-bat that Trevino had where, again, he just fouled off 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pitches in a row, and he kind of hits a little flare base hit to center. It didn't score a run. No runs ultimately ended up scoring, but those little trickle-down effects can matter, like we've always talked about on the front end of a series. You find yourself in 2 days where you have an extended baseball game and you're going through 3 or 4 or 5 bullpen arms. Nick, I got to tell you, I think that there's a small chance that you can reach back over and say, hey, that first game of the series really set up our opportunities late in that baseball game, which would be on Wednesday, to win. So we'll see if it ultimately ends up mattering. As you always say, you never really do know, I guess. But it's kind of the game within the game. And I thought the Reds offensively, although they only scored 4 runs, they looked the part. They had much better at-bats, and it was encouraging, if nothing else.
Yeah, that at-bat by Trevino, 10 pitches, was an incredible at-bat. And, they didn't come through, but it still helped them, in this game and going forward. The earlier you can get to the Angels bullpen, the better. It's not a good bullpen. The only pitcher you want to avoid is Kenley Jansen, who's only going to pitch if you're probably going to lose the game anyway. So he came in absolutely dominant over his last 6 weeks or something like that. But everyone else is mostly filler guys to maybe slightly above average arms. Big deal to get to the bullpen early, and there was some really good at bats tonight, mixed with some really bad at bats. It was kind of it was an interesting night for the offense.
What's funny is it felt like some of the guys that had some bad at bats at some key moments, they ended up having a good at bat later. Like Elly comes up with an opportunity. I think what was in the I don't know, maybe it was the second inning. I'm not sure. It was first and third or whatever it was, and he strikes out and he doesn't really get an opportunity to take too many good swings. And then he comes up and he laces a ball down the right field line, gets a triple. Steer kind of gets jammed, doesn't get the guy in from third base. You're kind of like, oh man, here we go again. We can't get a guy in from third base. The next inning, there was kind of that play over his shoulder. The national broadcast kind of made it sound like he had to have that ball or he should have caught it for sure. I don't know, man. I thought that it was a little bit of a difficult play for Steer over the shoulder, but then Steer comes back and he has a great at bat, and puts an opportunity to give the Reds another run. So it's like, it's weird because you can't say that it's like one person's fault as far as like this guy's, he's terrible at bat after terrible at bat after terrible at bat, but it does seem like there are some spots, Nick, where they could blow this game open and they were incapable of doing it, right? I think they stranded 10 guys, and then I think the Angels stranded 8 guys, and at least they might even stranded 9 guys now. I don't know what it was in the 9th inning. They might have stranded a couple guys that I kind of forgot about. But there was opportunities in this baseball game to blow it open, and they were incapable of doing it. But you know what? I can't really sit here and act like one person had a horrible game. I mean, simple as that. TJ Friedl had a great game. He did. I mean, they lead the game off with a base hit. Gavin Lux comes up and hits a home run. Like those things matter. Friedl also made a good play in center field. So I don't know. I was pleased, Mick. I'm being honest. They could have played a little bit better, but the truth is it doesn't really, it's just not realistic to ask them to play perfect baseball on a night in, night out basis. And I thought that they did what they needed to do, and obviously they did win.
Matt McLean had a big sac fly to increase the lead to 3 runs. I mean, being up 4-1's a huge difference than 3-1. This week's it's a business trip. I mean, this is a business trip to the Angels and to the Diamondbacks. This is, who cares how you win at this point in the season? You need to win these games. You need to win these series. This is the week. Ideally, you'd love to, try to run it up. You'd love to go 5-1 or something, really crazy. Not going to say you have to do that, but it's an opportunity here. So, yeah, I don't care how you get it done. Find a way this week. This is the find a way week.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. All right, let's jump into some super chats here real quick. M. Dean, JD maybe. That's how you say it. I'm sold on Hayes. That's Hayes. Speaking of Hayes, we didn't even bring up Austin Hayes. Pretty good day. Pretty good day.
Again.
Yeah. I mean, he's back-to-back days where he's kind of looked the part again.
Didn't he have a couple hits on Saturday too?
Maybe, but I will also admit Saturday was so demoralizing. I've tried to erase it from my brain. But he says, I am sold on Hayes. Don't care if he hits or not. I get, based off the way that he's played third base so far, I understand. I mean, that's understandable. Jaden Williams says, I've seen enough. Take McLean to the woodshed. We'll discuss that here in just a minute. There's a couple of McLean super chats, so I don't want to get too far down the beaten path with Matt McLean. He seems to be a very, very highly debated topic at this very moment. So we got some more supers about it. Daniel Meyer says McLean should get this week to prove himself before Sal comes up and takes his spot. Ned Flanders says, does Matty's sack fly put him back in the 2-hole? That's obviously sarcasm, and that's also funny, Ned Flanders. So I do appreciate the humor on a very late night show. A. Binyaz Harris says, I'll be at the game tomorrow. LA Reds fans unite. Shout out to you, man. Well, I'm a little jealous of the fact that you get to live in LA from a weather perspective. I don't think I'd like to live in LA for almost every other perspective, but the weather seems to be awfully nice, especially when I walk out my front door every single morning and it feels like it's 200 degrees out right now. And then I'm sure in 6 months it'll be negative 200 degrees. Jay Tensel says, the Reds winning in LA reminds me of how hot my stepmom is. I'm going to say that because I feel like it's funny. Now, I can't probably read the rest of this, okay? Because, Jay Tensel, you're trying to get me to say some things that probably aren't appropriate. But I read the first part, okay? And I thought it was funny. Now, those that can read obviously can read the rest. Putrid Talent says, ADN, the Reds still have not been swept. I think he meant and the Reds have still not been swept. You got a good point. I forgot all about that, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah.
They haven't been swept. I mean, we're a whole nother series down again, baby. Andrew Scobie says, I don't know if you guys have talked about this in detail, but do you think that baseball should take umpires out of the game completely? Just curious what your take is on it. I don't know. I really don't know, because at one point I was going to say no, definitely not. I'd also say this. I think a few bad umpires kind of make a bad rap for the vast majority of them. I think umpires in general are really, really good, like very, very good. The issue is that there's really no way to have accountability with them, because it seems like no matter how bad some of the bad ones are, they keep their jobs. And I get it. They have unions, but it is interesting. What was the individual the Athletics outfielder. Is it Butler? I think maybe. I don't know if you've seen it, Nick, but he kind of went hard in the paint on the umpires, man. He went hard in the paint on them.
I don't know how. Some of these guys show way more strength than I think I could.
Yeah,
like,
he went hard in the paint.
You got millions of dollars on the line for every at bat, and
yeah, no, he
not
basically,
millions on every at bat.
You know what he said that I thought was interesting? He did say that he thought that AAA umpires were much more locked in, largely based off the fact that they knew that there was a chance that there was accountability for whatever they missed, in the sense that you can get embarrassed. And that's fair. Like, I mean, heck, if you make a horrific call at home plate, right? Like you call a ball a striker ball, and it's off by 4, 5, 6 inches, and they challenge it, and on the big screen in front of everybody in the world, it pops up there and shows that you were that wrong. You probably would kind of maybe lock it in a little bit more, but I don't know. As far as no umpires at all, I think that the way they have it right now is really not that far from perfect. They just have to get to where you can kind of clean up the balls and strikes, in my opinion. Because let's face it, Nick, have we had too many plays in the field that were so egregiously bad that they didn't get right? I'd say not really. 99.9% of them, you could say, well, it was pretty damn close. I think they should have overturned it, but the reality is it's pretty damn close. I've never seen one where it's like, he's obviously out, he's obviously safe, and they don't overturn it. Now, I do think they hide behind the call stands, but that's a story for another day.
Only thing I really want changed is the whole like going off the bag for a tenth of a second. I actually want that to go the opposite way,
I agree
where
with that.
you have to see that in real time, where you can't challenge because his hand came off the bag for a tenth of a second. Umpire has to see that in real time. If they don't, it's against the spirit of this sport.
Exactly.
But yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, to your point, I was thinking the other day, I was watching a replay of, it might have been a Reds game. The home plate situation needs to be a halo too. Like, I'm so tired of guys sliding into home plate and them being like, well, I'm not sure if his foot's touching the actual plate. Dude, he's sliding across the plate. Like, what are we talking about? Yeah, the plate's maybe like a little bit below the surface. But is that really the point of the rule? Like, come on, man. Like, let's just have some decency of what we're trying to do here. So I almost wish they make it to where, like, if you're sliding into home plate, if your foot's literally over the plate when you're sliding in, it's on the bag. Like, unless it's, a foot in the air, that's obviously different. But I think we're both on the same page there. It's like, it's not in the spirit of the game, spirit of the rules. Anyway.
Yeah, robot umps are coming next year. There's definitely been enough. And to be honest, I mean, at this point, every game that there's a terrible home plate umpire, it's better for us. Because it's continuing to mount the pressure to change it. So that's, I guess, how you have to view it.
And I would also say, no doubt, we got some fortunate calls tonight, so I will take them, and we will appreciate tonight the fact.
Did not yesterday though. Did not yesterday.
It was terrible. It was like almost a run and a half towards the Brewers. I was like a 1.4, 1.39 to be exact, but still absurdly ridiculous when you're trying to win a one-run game against all teams, the Brewers. They don't need any help as is. You have MLB realignment on here. I know that's kind of a broad topic here for a show like this. Perhaps we won't get into the weeds of it because it seems like a very good off-season topic. Maybe you just needed to fill in something on the back half. I got to tell you, Nick, I'm going to say something probably a little controversial again. People are going to hate me for it because they always do. I think Rob Manfred's actually done a pretty serviceable job. I really do. Rob Manfred, in my opinion, has done such a better job than any other commissioner that I've personally been able to follow, Bud Selig being the main one that I know of. And I get that he has some flaws in regards to some things that he said. I get that he called the trophy a piece of metal. I get that maybe you were upset by the way they handled the whole Astros situation. I get that maybe you think that some of the comments he makes perhaps about certain business decisions that they've made are, perhaps they lack a little bit of empathy in certain areas. But the truth is I feel like he's made this a better game. And I am very hopeful that hopefully in the next CBA here that he will continue to help make this game a little more well-rounded. We can discuss perhaps exactly how he can do that later, but he did kind of throw out a little bit of a hint, Nick, of something that he's been thinking about. One of those was kind of realigning geographically what some of these divisions look like, and perhaps your thoughts on the whole matter.
Yeah, I agree on Rob Manfred. I think he's done a fantastic job overall. Now, he's got a massive undertaking here to keep the sport playing at some point. I'm not going to say if he, they miss half a season, it's a failure on him, because we'll have to see how it all plays out. But his legacy could certainly still be very impacted here in 2026. But Jim Bowden put out a piece today, and we don't need to go into crazy detail talk about it 1:05 a.m. But it got me thinking. Bowden had an idea for realignment, and I had never thought of, what about realignment to fix competitive balance, Trace? What if you put the teams in smaller markets in the same divisions? Would that not sort of fix the
It certainly helps. Certainly helps.
Yeah, I mean, so Bowden had his, and I kind of took it and I ran with it a little bit more. He's saying Charlotte and Nashville would be the teams. But just for example, Reds, Guardians, Pirates, the Nashville team. I mean, that would be a pretty competitive advantage, and it's nice that it works out geographically so well. I think you would play those teams a lot more. You maybe play everyone else just once. And yeah, you're going to still have a bunch of wild cards. There'd be 8 divisions. So if you kept the same amount of teams, there'd still be, I guess, total of 6 wild cards. So it almost, so the higher divisions are going to have still an opportunity to get maybe 3 teams in. But I think it would be a way to fix the sport, or at least significantly make a dent in fixing the sport competitively.
It helps. It definitely helps. I think that there's 2 ways to look at competitive balance, in my opinion. One of them is, what are your chances to make the postseason in general? And then, I guess, farthermore, the way that baseball is, and kind of the sport lends itself to a degree of random chances of something doing something improbable. I go back to the NBA for the longest time, right? Whoever had LeBron James, it just seemed like that was the team that was destined to probably get to the finals and or win the championship. If you had Michael Jordan, or you really can't do that in baseball per se. You can't say that, well, if you have one player. Now, on the opposite side of that, I would say, just as a fan, the same way that maybe the NCAA is going to have issues with maybe some mid-major teams in regards to trying to keep players and trying to hold fan bases and trying to build up, I guess, what I would call younger fans in those smaller markets to believe that they can follow one specific player for their career and they can stay there. That's really the NFL is king. The NFL is 100% a league where if you find a star player, or you have a star player, and they, for all intents and purposes, I guess, enjoy their time there, they're gonna spend their whole career there, because there's no financial benefit to going anywhere else. So I guess those are the 2 things, in my opinion, Nick. One is, yes, I think that MLB realignment from a divisions standpoint, to your case, is great. I would take that in a heartbeat. What you just showed on that screen with basically plotting the two New York teams together, putting Boston and Philadelphia in the same division, making the 2 LA teams in the same division with San Francisco and the Padres. Now, I will say the Padres, I'm not totally sure about, their market size, et cetera, but they've had success recently, so maybe they'd have an issue with it. But you have both Chicago's in there. Detroit's probably going to be a little upset, perhaps, but nonetheless, you have St. Louis, that's a great baseball city, so they shouldn't have a problem, I wouldn't think. But then you start to get kind of into those smaller markets, and you give, even you go outside of the Cincinnati, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Nashville, the Minnesota, Milwaukee, Kansas City, and Colorado one is another good, obviously excellent opportunity for those franchises to maybe try to take foot and get themselves into postseason baseball. I take that in a heartbeat, Nick. What I'm hoping will also happen is, I just hope that they find a way where, if you're a smaller market and you really value a player and or a couple players that are homegrown, that there's some revenue sharing system that forces ownership to have to be able to offer those opportunities to those homegrown players. And I know everyone's going to say, oh, you can make it a salary floor, and you could tell your owners to not be cheap or whatever term you want to use. But the true issue with that is that if there's no cap at all and there's no ability to say, well, you can't get paid more than this, it's going to be hard for me to ever believe that you're never going to get something taken away from you, because the bigger markets are just going to offer more money, because more times than not, it's a hobby to whoever owns those franchises. So that's a story for another day. Like you said, maybe at 1 o'clock or 1:10 now, Eastern time in the morning. It's not the perfect time to maybe go into the weeds of all this, but I think it's a good topic to bring up. I also think it's fair to say that at least we're talking about it. I am thankful for that. I'm thankful that we're at least giving it a thought to try to make this thing make somewhat of sense. Because right now, it doesn't make enough sense for me to really buy into there not being a work stoppage if everyone thinks this is perfectly fine. And I'm not here to say that I don't want baseball, to be clear, but I want this stuff to get fixed before we just sign another CBA. That's all.
Yeah, two just real quick points. Number one, I have a sort of fix to like the NBA has that whole offer sheet thing. I think one thing baseball could do is they could make the qualifying offer, they could make it bigger. So if the Reds offer, so let's say the Reds keep Elly De La Cruz all the way up till his free agency, and he wants to go sign with someone else. Well, if you're going to be a player that's going to sign a deal of $500 million plus, it's not just one draft pick. It's maybe like 3 draft picks. And that would make the players be like, I want to consider Cincinnati's offer more, because it's going to make me a little bit more valuable in free agency. That could be a way to kind of counter that. I don't know what the exact number would be, but I think like right now it's the same if it's $50 million or more, right? There's no difference in if you sign for $50 million or $500 million. And I think that would at least make teams, small markets, incentivize not to trade Elly De La Cruz with 2.5 years of control, because even if he doesn't want to resign, well, we're going to get a big return back in draft picks, which you don't have to believe me, the Dodgers traded for draft picks. So it's not just the cute little small market teams that value those picks as well. And then my other quick point is on the realignment. I think that the thing that people are going to say about that is, well, that's just going to incentivize the small owners not to spend more. Maybe. I personally, the way that I've watched the Reds ownership, I think that would motivate them to spend more. I really do. I think, and it might sound silly, but I think Bob Castellini and the other 80%, he's only 20%.
Right.
I think they'd say, you know what? I want to be the top spender out of those 4 teams in that division, because I could actually do that. But when I'm competing with the Cubs, who I can't outspend, there's literally nothing I can do to outspend them, because if I go and I spend $100 million more, the Cubs fans aren't going to be okay. Oh, that's okay. Just keep spending the same. No, they're going to just up it more. I think it would motivate them to spend more. Now, it's not going to be crazy. They're not going to be in the top 10 or anything, but I do think they would probably spend more when they're feeling like they have a chance than they do now.
I just think that the risk of spending more money with the chance of still not winning more games is such a huge fear factor, in my opinion, for ownership groups, that they just decide to shut it all down. As soon as they can kind of get to the point where they're like, you know what? Let's add 40, 50 extra $1 million to the payroll, right? As soon as they get to that point, I guarantee you that there's some analytical genius or somebody that's in the back saying, hey, I just want you to know, if you're going to spend this $50 million, you might only win two more games. I'd say you might win 3, maybe 3.5 more games. And then all of a sudden they sit back and they think, well, that ain't worth the risk. Because ultimately, I know that we have to still compete with the likes of the Dodgers, still compete with the likes of the Mets, still compete with the likes of the Phillies. et cetera, et cetera, et cetera in your own league, let alone the other league. So I'm with you. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, I'm trying to save some of it because I know there's a lot of people that want this show to be positive, and it has been positive up to this point, and we're going to keep it that way. But I got a good feeling that when it comes to that next CBA, things are going to get nasty. They're going to get really nasty. And it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out, because this is going to be the first time where I actually think, Nick, that there's going to be a decent population of Major League Baseball fans that are tired of it, and they're going to side. I'm not saying they're going to side completely with the owners, right? But I don't think that there's going to be as much player support as there has ever been, because I think that most of fans just think that if you have a rational brain, you can't expect these smaller ownership groups to be ponying up the likes of what the Dodgers are doing and or the Mets are doing. And yes, I get it. Right now, the Mets are only a game ahead of us, which goes back to my first point, Nick. Why the hell, if you're a small ownership group, would you look and be like, yeah, let's go bankrupt trying to win when we're competing with a team that's only a game ahead of us and they spent $9 billion more than us? That seems to be like a smart idea. Of course, it's all goofy. Major League Baseball has to figure it out, and we'll see if they can.
Yeah, good stuff.
All right, that was fun. All right, we have Reds MILB at 1:16 in the morning. I don't know if you're going to tell us who they're playing tonight. I don't know if you're going to tell us about every little nook and cranny that happened, because you actually had time to see what the hell happened in these games. And as you're spinning around in your chair, smiling from ear to ear, I'm guessing you have plenty of nuggets. I can't wait to hear about Sheng-En Lin and the likes of, let's think here, Austin Hendrick, my two favorite players in the farm system. Not really Tyson Lewis is that guy, but go ahead, Nick.
Well, it was Monday, so we only had the Dominican Summer League, but we
That
had a
is
lot
true.
of Dominican Summer League action
It's
today.
Tuesday now, though, right?
And we had a couple winners. DSL Reds beat the DSL Padres 13-7. The DSL Rojos played 2 games. They won game 1 16-13 over the DSL Cleveland Goriel, and they lost the second game 6-3. The only player of note, Libertz Aponte, the top prospect left down the Dominican Summer League, 10 total bases in the 16-13 game. How about a 4-for-4 day with a double, hit his 7th home run of the year. So that's very exciting. He is an incredibly talented player, had a massive day. So that's it. That's your only Reds MILB for the day. I won't go through all the probable pitchers on Tuesday. We'll save that.
All right. Fair enough. All right, well, let's do who, what, when, where, and why before we finish the show off with some supers.
All right. Reds back at it, 9:38. Going to have Hunter Green on the mound. This is going to be his first ever start against the Angels. Has never faced them again. Obviously, Hunter Green pitched very well. First time back. How about 6 shutout innings, no walks, 6 strikeouts. Green, a 1.82 ERA in 21 starts since July 1st, 2024. That's the best ERA in Major League Baseball among pitchers with 100 innings or more. Only active Angels batter that's faced him is Travis d'Arnaud, who was actually 1 for 2 with a homer. The backup catcher having a really bad year for the Angels. Reds going up against old nemesis Kyle Hendricks, still kicking it. He's 6-8 with a 4.88 ERA. Overall, I mean, he's been okay, for what he is. Last start against the Dodgers, gave up 5 runs in 3 1/3 innings. He has a career 4.09 ERA in 28 games, 26 of those starts against the Reds, but last year dominated the Reds. He had a 1.62 ERA in 4 games, and you might remember threw 7 1/3 shutout innings in what was his final start in a Cubs uniform. I believe that was the second to last day of the season. But active Reds have great numbers, 25 for 74. Brian Hayes has seen him the most, 9 for 21 with 2 homers. Miguel Andujar, who was out of the lineup on Monday night, 5 for 6 with 3 doubles. De La Cruz is 1 for 8. Lux and Stevenson, 2 for 7. So, Trace, it's a good matchup tomorrow night. This is one you really want to get. The matchup on Wednesday, they're facing Kikuchi, a tough lefty. So tomorrow feels like, man, you want to win this series tomorrow, and then you can at least kind of get into Wednesday and feel like you're kind of playing with house money to an extent.
Who are they facing on Wednesday?
Kikuchi, I think that's how you say his name.
Say that one more time.
No.
All right, folks. It's getting too late. Let's do some supers. Parker Harris.
Yosei Kikuchi.
Nice.
You say
Keep doing it, Nick.
Kikuchi.
Keep doing it. Yeah.
I'm reading the pronunciation guide right now.
All right. Whatever you say, boss. It's 7 a.m. in Poland, says Parker Harris. Love starting the day with a Reds W. Appreciate what you all do. 7 a.m. Nice. I wish this was a 7 a.m. show for me. That would kind of fit my schedule.
Was that Poland?
Poland, my man. That's Poland. If you asked me to point to that directly on a map right now, I would be in a bad spot. But good news is that I don't have to do that. Parker, thank you for watching our show. We appreciate you and appreciate you supering as well. Glad to get you started off the right foot at 7 a.m. in Poland. Thank you for being a fan of the show. Kiefer Dowell says, Reds fan from NC. I'm guessing that's North Carolina. Reds fan from NC, enjoying my favorite post-game podcast, my favorite host. Love the show. Also, an avid disc golfer. Hope you get it to enjoy I hope you go to the LWS Trace. I really think you'll enjoy it. Thank you, Kiefer Dowell. I think I'm going to do that. It's just a matter of scheduling, really. I think if it's 3 days, I probably should be able to find a way to get down there for one of them for sure. But thank you for the super. Thank you for listening as well, guys. We have had an incredible crowd in here on a late night edition of Chatterbox Reds. If you're not already, as always, you know the drill. Like the stream if you can, please. And more importantly, tell somebody else about it, friends, family, et cetera, et cetera. Hopefully we can keep you laughing, and hopefully we find a way to win some baseball games. Because I think what you just said, Nick, I do remember Hendricks coming into Great American Ballpark 2 years ago, I think it was, and we lit him up like a Christmas tree. So I'm hoping we do that again tomorrow. I guess what would be today now.
Keno him.
Yeah.
Keno was that. We started that game too, the 3 home run game. Never.
That's
forget.
maybe that's when it was. That might have been when it was.
It was a little more than 2 years ago.
Well, yeah, I don't think. I need to go back and look at the game logs. I'm assuming it was maybe. I want to say it was 2 years ago.
I think they also lit him up 2 years ago, but I don't.
Okay.
Maybe it was a Keno. Keno, was he still around 2 years ago? No,
I don't know.
2022 was his last year.
No, Keno was last year. It was before we did the show.
One last thought for me. The Chatterbox Bengals guys did a great job recapping the preseason game. First preseason win for your Cincinnati Bengals since 2023. So you need to enjoy that show, celebrate that big preseason win on YouTube and everywhere you get podcasts. I've been asking people of late. You've left us a lot of 5-star reviews. We appreciate that. Leave them some 5-star reviews. That would really help them grow that show. They're working hard on that. So if you're a fan of us, we would really appreciate. Go leave them a 5-star review on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Love it. Love it. All right, folks. You know what time it is. It's time to dunk. Now, here's the problem. It is super, super late, and right above me, there is a vent that goes directly to my kids' rooms, and the last thing that I need to do is wake my kids up. So if I do that, there's a good chance that this show will go on, but it might go on without me, as I could be a dead man. So what we're going to do tonight is we are going to be smart. We're going to be wise. What we're going to do, most importantly, is be quiet. But we're still going to try to be an athlete. So love you. Appreciate you. Hope you enjoy the show. But Nick's got one thing left to say.
One super at the buzzer from Joe Russell. Go Reds. Big win tonight. Keep it going.
Boom. And with that, here goes nothing.